What's up, everybody? Here I am battling rush hour traffic, so I kind of figured that I would make a video that I've been wanting to make about what went down earlier this week, and in my humble opinion, what I think went wrong, and then what actually happened. I want to start by saying, holy shit. And then I want to continue on to say that I think that what we kind of went through and what we are about to go through is really going to be a lot different than what we experienced 8 years ago for 4 years, the first Trump administration, and for two reasons. One, we know better this time. The first time, people said, hey, give him a chance. You never know. He's going to drain the swamp and all this nonsense, which he didn't. And he had his chance, and he blew it, and he was fired. But two, Trump knows better as well. Now, Trump has his first term in office. He did not have any motivation or prior experience to use his position of power to seek revenge against any political opponents. He just had ideas, and other Republicans around him had ideas that they had long had. McConnell had this plan, and the Heritage Foundation had this plan going for decades. To pack the Supreme Court with conservative justices, overturn Roe v. Wade, et cetera, so on and so forth. And Trump was just kind of, he was just there to go along with all that. Now, this time, Trump has a personal reason to use his position of power to seek revenge on the people that he feels had wronged him. Of course, there's the unpredictable factor, like things like what we experienced in 2020, like the pandemic. The world that we live in today is filled with uncertainty. So who knows what is going to happen over the next 4 years in regards to those types of things that can't be foreseen. However, there are certain things that you can kind of count on, and none of them are good. You're going to see a temporary, and you're already seeing the stock market go, you're going to see a temporary increase based on the idea and the wave of enthusiasm that people have that Trump's going to be better for the economy. But as he actually gets back in the White House and starts enacting those policies, they're not going to be good for the economy. And that temporary hardship thing is going to be real. And the people that are going to benefit are the same people that benefited the first time around, and they're going to benefit in a much greater capacity this time. And those people are the multi-gazillionaires, billionaires, the people that actually own the government. So one thing I want everybody to really understand and try to wrap their head around is Democrats and Republicans and Washington in general is owned and has been owned for some time by private interests, by lobbyists, and by corporate interests. They've been bought off by those people a long time ago. And if you mess their money, their god is money. And if you mess with their money, they're going to push back on you. So there's a certain degree of hopefulness there, because there's certain things that Trump has, extreme things that Trump and his Heritage Foundation psychos want to do that will be perilous for the economy and for the stock market. That in real time, the people that actually control things they're not going to allow those things to happen. Unfortunately, those people don't give a flying fuck about marginalized communities, about police brutality or violence. They don't care about political violence. The only thing they care about is the bottom line. So anything that threatens the bottom line, they're going to push back against. Anything else, he's going to be free to do whatever he wants. There is the hope, like we saw in 2020, where it's going to come down to a handful of individuals who hopefully are going to have the moral backbone to push back against being told to break the law, like we saw with Mike Pence and his refusal to go along with Trump's demands to not certify the 2020 election. So I hope that there's going to be some high-ranking military officials, because you don't have to be smart or adept at anything to be elected to public office, but you certainly have to be keen in certain ways and be knowledgeable about our government and the Constitution to rise up to the ranks of the military and to become a high-ranking general. And I really hope that if he tries to issue orders to use the military in an unconstitutional way against the American public and in a politicized way against his perceived quote-unquote enemy within, which is absolute nonsense. I really hope that there's going to be some people who are cut from the same cloth that a guy like Mike Pence is. I hate to say that because I don't like Mike Pence at all, but I like that he disobeyed Trump, and I hope that there's going to be some people. We're going to need those people to disobey Trump in order for things to not become incredibly desperate. I also want to talk about why I think things went wrong for Harris and for the Democrats. There's a couple of reasons. I see with Trump, he the corporate media, the mainstream media, that a lot of Trump supporters during the 2020 election cycle and during his whole first administration, they were like, they demonized the mainstream media for criticizing him at all. When in fact, what we actually learned, and what should be glaringly obvious to anybody with half a brain who's paying attention, is that the mainstream media is actually owned by right-wing interests. They were very, very soft on Trump, and they collectively normalized his outrageous and insane speech and behavior throughout this election cycle, whereas they were extremely harsh on Biden and his admittedly poor performance during the debate back in June. And I hate to say it, but Democrats showed themselves to be pretty feeble, and the scrambling in the henhouse after Biden's debate performance, it was just kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. The nonsense, the rambling nonsense that Trump said, the hateful, misogynistic shit that spewed out of his mouth, the word salad garbage of getting people's names wrong, using words that don't even make sense, talking about sharks and batteries and shit like that. And there was nobody called him out for a lick of any of that stuff. Performing oral sex on a microphone 2 days before the election or whatever that was. Biden, who has battled a speech impediment his whole life, admittedly falters pretty bad during the debate, and they just torched the guy with a flamethrower. Harris, I don't think, was a perfect candidate. I think she was okay, and I think she's a lifelong politician and with a career in politics and law enforcement. So I don't think she really would have brought about the kind of radical change that's necessary in our country. But I do think that she would have kind of kept the thing chugging along at the rate that it's going, which is not the answer. But it's also not the answer to increase the speed at which we're speeding towards the cliff and driving off into the canyon only to explode in a fire of destruction and insanity down below. And so now with Trump, we're going from like third gear to sixth gear as we speed towards that cliff, from whence there would be no return. I hate to say it, but I think there's a lot of Americans, a lot of people who were kind of on the fence, who might have not liked Trump, but when push came to shove, they just couldn't bring themselves to vote for a black woman. You have to learn to match your opponent at their game. The opponent's game, the Republican game, the right-wing game, the Trump game, is to deny, delay, and to back and support your candidate under any and all circumstances whatsoever. And the Democrats just don't have that level of dedication. Trump's base is fucking unshakable. They won't ever criticize him or call him out on anything. And Democrats just can't get enough of calling their leaders out on everything. Things have to be fucking perfect, man, and they're not going to be. And unfortunately, if you like the perfect to be the enemy of the somewhat acceptable, you're going to get the completely unacceptable, which is now what we're about to be reckoning with. I think that Democrats need to learn how to lie better. I think that the phrase "Israel has a right to defend itself" should have never left Harris's mouth throughout the campaign. I think even if she intended to continue to fund Israel and to continue to try to give them slaps on the wrist the way that Biden did, while not really standing in their way. I think she, this is terrible to say, but I think she should have just lied and said, I'm going to end the war my first day in office. I'm going to enact a ceasefire. I'm going to cut off all funding to Israel, and they're going to stop it. And we're not going to allow this to continue to happen. Even if it was a lie, you can't hold yourself to this this high standard while your opponent has no standards and their base is completely dedicated. You know, I also hate to say, if you think that the 2020 election was rigged, but you're happily accepting the results of this election without questioning them, you're an idiot. Sorry to break the news to you. You're stupid. I want to wrap this up by talking about one last thing here, and this whole RFK and Make America Healthy Again nonsense. And it's kind of tied up in, and Trump's just win in general is tied up in these. So many people feel left behind in this country, and the Democrats are not coming to your rescue. The Republicans are not coming to your rescue, because they did this to you in conjunction with each other. This is something that's happened over the course of 50, 60 years, where it's just gotten worse and worse and worse, and people are angry and resentful, and the people that are left behind are not the educated people. They're the uneducated people. They're the, for lack of a better way to describe it, it's the blue-collar world of people, the blue-collar part of the electorate who are, who have been marginalized financially, economically by the whole situation. You want to talk about the strength of the economy. The strength of the economy in the stock market does not really bear any kind of relevance to your average, generally somewhat poor American person in American society. You can have a really strong economy. The stock market can be killing it, and your average person is still, kind of struggling to make ends meet, as they have been for a long time and for generations now. And they're pissed off about that, and they want things to change. And I just hate to say it, but they're not smart enough or perceptive enough to understand who's actually responsible. And it's everybody in government. That doesn't mean not voting. That just means not voting for, this whole story about people that think that the foreign countries are going to pay tariffs. Like, what is that? That you have to be incredibly, remarkably ignorant and stupid to think that that's true. To think that Trump's spewing this talking about the tariffs, and that expense is going to be shouldered by the companies that are bringing goods, the countries that are bringing goods into this country. Now, I myself am fairly uneducated. I have a high school education, and I have what you call some college. I'm lucky enough to have done a decent amount of traveling, like I said, for my job, which has contributes to my awareness and my feeling of, or at least presenting as having the illusion of being educated. In the age of the internet, with an immeasurable amount of knowledge and information out there at everybody's fingertips, if you're going to remain uninformed and ignorant, the onus is entirely on you. And if you want to be healthy, the onus is on you. If you think the government or RFK is going to make you healthy again, you are in for a rude awakening. You're sorely mistaken. In America, unfortunately, there's food ingredients that have been long banned in other countries, that are known to be carcinogens, that are not just unhealthy, but are poison for you. However, nobody's forcing you to eat Fruity Pebbles for breakfast and Lunchables for lunch. Now, to be fair, there are geographical regions within the United States where eating healthy can be a very big challenge. But making the decision and taking the accountability to eat healthy and to make that choice for yourself is a challenge, and you have to take accountability of that for yourself. The government is not coming to help you. You cannot rely on the doctor to give you a medication or a pill that's going to make you better and going to facilitate you continuing to engage in a pattern of ignorance with your health and your eating and the way that you treat yourself, and think that there aren't going to be consequences. I think voting was made more difficult. People had to, in certain areas, especially areas that are populated by non-white people, I think voting was made more difficult. All those bomb threats that were called in that made the polls close, and some polls closed and never opened again, where people had to wait hours in line to vote and stuff like that. People being taken off of the voter registration records who were registered to vote, and only to find out that they've been taken off and had to re-register to vote. Those things are real, and I think that over the next 4 years, it's not just the maps and the districts that the Republicans are going to gerrymander. They're going to continue to gerrymander the actual process of voting to the extreme. They're going to make voting more prohibitive, more difficult, harder for people to access. I hope that we get another chance, because it's pretty ominous when Trump during his campaign says, just vote for me this one time and you'll never have to vote again. What is that, man? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that, like, they intend to subvert future elections. Remember, the internet, including this, the internet is a bunch of bullshit. That what actually matters is face-to-face, real life. People, and how you interact with and treat your fellow humans in real life, face-to-face, in the flesh. That's what matters. Not what kind of bullshit we say to each other online. Because it's really easy to talk shit to each other online. But it's a lot more difficult to, I think there's much fewer people who are really, really willing to be a brazen asshole in public, the way that they present themselves through social media and on the internet. So be careful out there, be safe, and let's hold on for the next 4 years, man. Don't let go. Okay, peace and love, y'all.